So let's start by you thinking through your own SMART goal. Start to think of, what's your career goal? Let's pick one. So think about, what is it you want to achieve? What is it you want from your work? What's going to make you satisfied, motivated? Let's think big, right? Welcome to my world. I think big in my world, and you're in my world for the next 30 minutes. We're going to make it SMART by starting with the S. What do you specifically want to achieve with your career? Now, you may feel like you've been specific with writing down your goal in that first piece, but really ask yourself the question, what am I really asking for here? What am I really trying to accomplish? We saw with the individual who said, I want to be more strategic. What he really wanted to be was, he wanted to add leadership role to his, or leadership skills to his resume. That's what really was important to him. And it actually seemed to me, if I read through it a little bit more, is that he wanted to be respected in that way, right? Have positive team feedback, right? So when you talk about specifically what you want to achieve, think about the reactions you want from others too. Is there respect that you want? Is there a level of recognition? Is there a feeling of confidence you want to have around something? Include those emotional triggers for you as well, the things that are going to make you feel as if you've also gotten there. Because it relates to our next step, which is the measurable piece, right? How are you going to know when you've achieved your goal? What needs to happen? What outcomes do you want to measure, right? Are there tangible things you'll be able to point to? Is it a particular skill that you're looking to develop? Is it a particular team that you'd like to build relationships with or be a part of? Is there a particular role that you'd like to move to laterally, right? What outcomes can we measure from what you're trying to do? Now, measurement makes some people uncomfortable because if I measure it, I might fail. Well, yes and no, because we have an entire framework here to help you be a success. What I'd rather you do with this measurable piece is be honest and say, what's going to make me feel as if I've accomplished this goal that's important to me? All right? It's okay to put yourself on the line. What is it that you really want to see happen? All right, we're going to continue to make your goals SMART. Now, these two, again, I said earlier, really pay attention to them because I think of all the SMART framework, it's the achievability and relevance piece that have the most impact on your success. Why? Well, achievable says, is your career goal achievable? Right? Is it feasible? What might get in your way? You didn't see me, I didn't ask if something will get in your way. I said what might get in your way. Chances are, whatever you're trying to achieve, whether it was, in our example, the person who didn't have the immediate opportunity in his job, or whether it's time constraints that maybe you don't have time to develop the other skills given your current job, there may be something that's going to get in your way. Your best bet is to write it down now, because then we can look for ways to address that. Be honest. What might get in the way? You could even write yourself down. Put me, right? Because maybe this goal, it requires you to put yourself out there in new ways, right? Maybe it's going to require you to step into a role you're not comfortable with. Maybe that makes you afraid. And maybe the only reason you're not already achieving that goal is because you've been your own obstacle. Now, guess what? You're human, and we all do that. The beauty of it is, though, fear doesn't have to stop you from moving forward. There's a great book that I listen to. I have it on audio. And I listen to it anytime there's a goal I'm trying to go after, but I find I'm not taking the steps. Even when I've outlined my SMART goal, and even when I have my action plan, if I am still not moving forward, and I know at the heart of it, it's really fear for me, the book that I go to is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, by a woman named Susan Jeffers, Dr. Susan Jeffers. And I got to interview Dr. Susan Jeffers on my radio show recently. After being a fan and listening to her audio, it was amazing to have her live on air because I could hear the voice and the motivation. And she says, Maggie, at the heart of doing anything different, for any human being, fear is a natural part of the process. We won't eliminate fear. It's actually built into us as a survival mechanism. So I don't care what level you achieve. I don't care what heights you reach to. When you do something new, you're going to be afraid, right? I still get nervous every time I do my radio show. I still get nervous when I come up to present. It's just a natural human thing to feel that fear. Well, guess what? When you do it anyway, right, that's how you eliminate the fear. Fear will never go away on its own. The only way to help yourself move forward is to do what you're afraid of doing, right? So I encourage you to check out that book if you think one of the things that's getting in your way might be your own fear of failure or fear of success. All right, relevance. Is your career goal relevant? And I would even add another word in here. How does it relate to company goals? How does it relate to your longer term plans or your bigger picture plans? Making this connection for yourself to start, to say, for example, our leader, right? It helps the company because if I add leadership skills, or if I add any skills, technical or otherwise, to my resume, I'm more versatile to the organization. So if your goal is to learn some new skill, it can relate back to the company goals because you're going to become that adaptable, flexible employee that they need and appreciate, for one example. Again, think of your own longer term plans. And you don't need to share any of this with anybody necessarily, but I think it's smart to think it through. Where are you going with all this, right? What is it you're trying to do, and how does this goal fit into your longer term plans? How will this goal even impact for the better your family? Thinking about the other things outside of life. All right, last piece now. Time bound. By when do you want to achieve your goal? Now, I said by when do you want to. That may be one date. By when do you think you can? Might be another one, right? So maybe I'll rephrase this to say, by when do you think you can? And then maybe pull it back a little, right? So it's somewhere in between those two. Maybe I want to do this by next week, but chances are I think I can get to it by this time next year, right? Maybe what we can do is give you 3/4 of a year. Give you a little bit of a push, because oftentimes you can accomplish more. What's that phrase about giving something to a busy person, right? You want something done, give it to a busy person, right? So don't be afraid to commit to a little bit of an aggressive timeline for yourself, but at the same time be realistic. All right, now what you want to do is put this together in terms of your own motivating SMART goal. And you'll notice the last line on that handout gives you an opportunity to rewrite your new SMART goal. I encourage you to do it right now. Rewrite it, given your specificity, measurements, the achievability factors, the relevance, the time frame. Rewrite it now. This is your chance. Use this time. Because what my hope is, and what the researchers found, was that this should now be something you're looking forward to working on. Gee, looking forward. Isn't that great? It's also something that motivates you just to read it. You can't wait to get started, right? It's also something you want to make a priority, right? Anybody in here have multiple priorities? Yeah. Do you know the word priority? If you look at the history of that word, it is meant to be single. It's meant to be priority, right? We've created priorities. But by definition, it's one thing that's most important, right? So this career goal, this SMART goal now, becomes your priority.